Hi guys, hello boys and girls, hello my dear fellow foreign English speakers. It's Robbie here from EnglishHarmony.com and welcome back to my video blog. Let's talk about the subject of spoken English self-practice again for the millionth time. But in case you're thinking, Robbie, come on, you've been talking about it in every single video for the last couple of months. Hold on a second, just bear with me for a moment and you'll realize that today I'm going to reveal a certain aspect of the whole spoken English self-practice thing that hasn't been talked about before. And to be honest with you guys, I didn't even realize that it existed up until today, when I happened to receive an email from one of my blog readers. And I actually sent him an email a couple of days before that, telling him that spoken English practice, basically speaking, is the only way that's going to develop his fluency, his ability to speak, for that matter. And I didn't explicitly mention in the email that speaking with himself is one of the options. I only spoke about speaking in general terms, and then I went on to give him a few tips and tricks on how to approach the whole speaking thing, but I never explicitly mentioned that if you don't have anyone else to talk to, you can do self-practice in the comfort of your own home, okay? Next thing I know, that person responds by saying, listen, Robbie, it's not going to work. I can't heed to your advice because I can't speak. There's no one for me to speak with. And only then I realized, it was some sort of a light bulb moment, I realized that for some people, speaking is only associated with communication with other people, right? And when you think about it, it actually makes an awful lot of sense, because when you grow up as a human being, when you develop from the stage of infancy, and then you start pronouncing the first words, repeating what you hear around you, and then you start speaking with your parents and friends and all that, you don't probably even think about speaking with yourself, because you only speak with other people. That's the most natural thing. And then, at some stage in your life, when you start learning the second language, if it happens so that you learn it by way of speaking, the natural way, if you live in a bilingual country, for instance, just like I did. In my country, they speak Latvian and Russian, so I learned Russian by way of speaking. I can't actually remember when I learned the Russian language. I just kind of know that I always spoke it. But it's because I was playing with Russian kids as a little kid myself, so I just learned it the natural way. But if you start learning the second or the third language in school, in the traditional language teaching setting, where you only do textbook exercises, filling gaps in the different exercises, and read a lot and listen, nobody tells you that you can practice your speech with yourself, right? You only assume that you can do the very same thing you've done in your native language, maybe in your second language, speak with others, okay? And just because there's no opportunities to speak with others when it comes down to the English language, you're lost. You don't even realize there's no concept of self-practice because you just never knew that it existed. So it can't even cross your mind. It can't occur to you. And this is something that I didn't even think about, because for me personally, the whole concept of spoken English self-practice has become a second nature, and it's been like that for long years now, and I can't actually imagine myself without it, you know? And just because I've been communicating about the whole thing from my videos for years on end now, I assume that everyone who I come in contact with will quite automatically realize what I'm talking about. But the fact of the matter is that most people out there who haven't heard about the concept of spoken English self-practice, even if you tell them that you gotta speak, which I thought was just enough information to make them realize that they can speak with themselves, even then they don't realize it. You have to explicitly tell them. And when you tell them that, most people are shocked, because the whole concept seems something weird, something strange. And I want you to read an article that I published a year ago. You can click on the link right here, and it's called "Why It's So Hard to Realize You Have to Speak in Order to Speak," right? And back then, and up until now, obviously, I thought that this is the only issue, that for most of us, it's difficult to realize that you have to speak in order to develop your fluency because of the bad job that the traditional English teaching study has done to us, right? We've been brainwashed, and now we believe that we can read, write, listen, and that way become fluent English speakers, right? So that's why it's so hard to realize that you gotta speak. But here's the thing that I'm talking about today. Here's a whole new issue. Basically, even if you convince a person that they have to speak, it requires an additional effort to make them understand that they can speak with themselves, and that there's so many advantages to do spoken English self-practice, such as zero stress levels, and you can make as many mistakes as you want, and you can record your speech in a camcorder, go back and self-correct and all that sort of thing. So there's a million advantages and no disadvantages at all, right? So that's the message I wanted to send to you guys, in case you happen to be that person who didn't realize up until now that you can speak with yourself. Please start doing that on a daily basis. And if you know some other people who would benefit from this advice, don't hesitate to tell them that. Tell them, Robbie told you to speak with yourself, and that's the only way to improve your English fluency if you don't have any opportunities to speak with other people, right? So I hope that what I was trying to communicate with you guys makes an awful lot of sense. So obviously, if you have any questions or comments of any nature, preferably something that's got to do with spoken English improvement, post them in the comment section below. Chat to you soon, and bye-bye.